we have focused on being able to be not just the triangle, but access to data that is outside the four walls of what is the triangle. Ultimately, I think if we could have one port of entry and it be for the entire state and maybe for a larger region where our subscribers can have access to all of that data, I just think it benefits everybody in the long run.
Hey everybody, it's Matt Fowler again from DorifyMLS.com, the former TriangleMLS.com, changed our name just recently. And I'm here today with my director, Randy Cox, who is a director at Coldwell Banker, Howard Perry, and Walston in the area. And Randy's going to tell us a little bit about himself. We're going to ask Randy a few questions about Randy and a few questions about his service on the Doorify board of directors. Randy, start out with just tell us who you are and about HPW and then a little known fact about you.
Yeah, so Coldwell Banker, Howard Perry, and Walston, a firm in the marketplace, 50 years in the making, going on 51 years now. And as it relates to me, I've been with Coldwell Banker, Howard Perry, and Walston going on 18 years, and the broker in charge, vice president, managing broker of our Chapel Hill and oversight for our Pittsburgh offices. And a little bit about me, family man, wife, 3 children, and love to be a part of everything they have going on in their life.
Yeah, me too, Randy. I think we've both been married a little while. I think I'm 38 years.
Yeah, I am right at 26, going on 27, and been with my wife, Tanya, for 31.
Yeah, wow, that's an accomplishment for them, for the girls living with us. I know you feel that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long have you served on the Doorify board?
We are 5 years going on 6 years, started as a stakeholder representative, then now oversight and representing the Orange Chatham Association of Realtors. And it's been just a tremendous, wonderful experience, and the growth has been fantastic.
We have had an interesting few years here at Doorify, Triangle to Doorify. When did you start practicing real estate? You said HPW was 50 years old, but you weren't there then?
So I started in new homes, and I'm a licensed general contractor and worked for a new home builder for close to 10 years. And so then transitioned over to the general brokerage side. Now looking at close to 30 years in this business we call real estate.
Yeah, wow. And it's changed so much over that time. Just the technology has flooded in. It's just a different kind of skill set these days. Even there are some things, as we know, that never change, those relationships. We've got some questions about Doorify now, and you've been here through the whole thing, Randy. We first started talking about the rebrand. And so in your words, how does Doorify deliver on its promise of the tagline, connecting people with property?
Well, I think it's through, 1, the professional realtor community, and then 2, technology. And I think we've been able to at least move in a direction where we are connecting those dots in a way that also brings the consumer into the fold in a different way. And so I think that's been our focus. It's been, and we had a strategic plan that was a 3-year plan, and we just revisited that plan and laid out a 3-year plan moving forward. So I think it's through professional real estate community, technology, and then a focus on transparency with the consumer.
Yeah, that consumer part, Randy, I think it's part of our strat plan that we were talking about the other day. And I think, business people will understand what B2B means. It's like a copier business. It's a business that sells to other businesses, right? You don't have a copier in your house. So that's a B2B business. And we've always thought of ourselves as a B2B company, the MLS, but we've recognized that we're a B2B2C company. And it's really important that, the app that's in your customer's hands that they're swiping down on all the time to see if there's that house that they've been looking for. Our mission at Doorify is to make sure that consumer is the very first person to know about that. So we need a microsecond between the B2B2C thing, but that has to be a well-oiled machine. And we're really focused on automation. That's why we made a lot of the changes that we did. We are recognizing that at the end of all this, that person that we're connecting to property is coming through one of our subscribers. Like the people that work at the MLS don't connect people with property. The network is what really does that. And the network is made up of professionals out there in 16 counties that are on the school boards and the zoning commissions of dozens of municipalities around our area engaged in the business of real estate, as you said. So, something that we think about a lot is how to make the B in the middle look as best they can and deliver that service as best they can to that consumer. We talk a lot about home ownership, I know, on the board. And tell us something about, you said you're also a builder, so you've got really a 360 view of this. What makes you passionate about home ownership, bringing people into a house?
Well, I think it's really the opportunity to open that front door and call it their own. I think that really helps to one, drive community. I also think it helps as it relates to self-esteem and how people feel about themselves. I think there's statistical information that certainly suggests that he or she and the family that owns their home, they're invested in a community. It provides stability for the youth of America. They feel better about themselves, and their ability to contribute to the local community and society is just that much better and that much more. So I think it's where it starts. Home ownership is where things start, memories are made. And I have a small building company that I'm a part of, and it's Horizon Custom Builders, and it's the tagline is building tomorrow today.
Mm.
So all of those memories that you build in home ownership and family become your tomorrow, and it starts today. And that's why we decided to go in that direction.
Yeah, I did an interview with a lady who became a homeowner for the first time. Her mom was not a homeowner. She told me that the thing that she took home was the security. I was talking to her about equity, where my brain was, but she said that she got to tell her sons that that this was their room until they graduated. They're in middle school and they'd moved every 6 months or every year, as the rent changed.
Sure.
But she had a book, old school mortgage book, that she could show me that the numbers were the same.
Right.
And she knew with her teacher salary that she could make those payments, which gave her, we talk about housing security, but that's more than that. That's peace of mind. That's self-esteem, you said. So that's an enormous thing. That really gets us excited about what we do too. It's not making the bits go faster necessarily. It's really opening these doors. So how would you say that the mission of Doorify, we talked about the consumers, how would you say that it really supports our subscribers? What's good about what you and I do on the board for the guy out there in the field selling real estate?
For a long time, it's data that we need to make available to our subscribers so that they can provide a better experience for the consumer. And I think our focus has been to be able to provide a better quality of data, to provide it faster, and to provide more of it, where there's one port of entry, maybe, and you have access to all data. And when you can do that, then our subscribers, those that represent the consumer, where the rubber meets the road, then they can do a better job in making sure that they're protecting their client, their customer, our consumer. And we have focused on that. We have focused on being able to be not just the triangle, but access to data that is outside the four walls of what is the triangle. So ultimately, I think if we could have one port of entry and it be for the entire state and maybe for a larger region where our subscribers can have access to all of that data, I just think it benefits everybody in the long run.
Yeah, it'll make everything faster and cheaper and more transparent. It's really inside baseball, but maybe they won't flip this out on us, Randy. When we started our translation data project in the national system that we used to study, there were 500 and something ways to say status, active, pending, contingent, hold. There's active with kick out, whatever that means. That was one from New York City. And I don't know what that means. And you don't know what that means. You have to work in New York to know what that means.
Sure.
And those things build the lack of transparency into the data. And when a consumer comes and looks at that listing online, they see terms that they don't understand. So we've gotten that list down, that 500 and something list down to about 30. 400 of the 500 were only in one city. So that kind of work is ongoing. We're making the data cleaner so it's easier for people to find online when they search. You said we're adding stuff to it. We added whether the home has fiber. If you're a relocating gig worker, fiber is super critical to be able to have meetings like this when not have outages. If it's your work, you got to be connectivity is more than just watching TV.
Sure.
So we saw that people were searching for that a lot, so we added that to the compilation. Things like green building characteristics that the house might have. It's difficult sometimes for the broker to to study those things and get them into the system correctly, define them, and have that skill set. But we can subscribe to national databases that have that information about that parcel and just include it so that it is then searchable by buyers. People don't know what the MLS does. That's an example of something that we do clean, but also add to the data so it can be syndicated to hundreds of websites.
Well, and I also think that for our subscribers, we've become more nimble in that front end of choice, being able to go ahead and use whatever platform they choose to use so that they can provide the data and not have to adapt to one single platform has just made us that much better.
Yeah, that's really unusual that we've done, and we got a couple of awards for it this year. It's super fun to be able to see, our name up on the screen when they say it's the best MLS in the country.
Absolutely.
We're on our way to get there. We're on our way to be able to prove that we are the best MLS in the country, and we could not do that, Randy, without the very regular involvement and active engagement of you guys. There's only 14 voting members on the board of directors, and we want to introduce our subscribers and consumers to our board and let them know that we have, people with really deep experience like Randy, also a builder, super involved in the community and has been for decades. That's the kind of advice that you get when you go into a transaction that might be the most important one of your life at that point. It's super critical, not to go into that blind. And if you're selling a house, if you're buying a house, you need that advice. And I rely on that experience to help me run this pretty big business. We've got 15,000 subscribers with a pretty big footprint. We really know in a few seconds if our systems are offline. So we can tell that people rely on them. So Randy, thanks for joining us today. And we will see you at a meeting soon, I'm sure.
Well, it's an honor and a privilege, and we don't take that responsibility lightly. And so thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Randy.